Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something you end up enjoying, you never know, it could happen. Anyway, this is my opportunity to talk about the month that was, the month that's coming up, what I read, what's going on with the channel, kind of everything in between, but mostly just about what we're reading here. Anyway, this last month of July, we'll get into that first. What was the monthly update? July was a great month for me, to be honest. I had the opportunity to be involved in a readathon. That was for the Keymark readathon with AR Witham, Andy. He's an author, he's a YouTuber, and runs just a wonderful Discord with tons of people that got involved in this great readathon. It was a blast. It was the SPF BO Summer Readathon. And it's over now because it is now August. So, but it was a great time. We actually had our final live stream last night. I'm actually pre-taping this, so I don't know who won. We'll see. Maybe I'll do an edit here to throw in there. But anyway, really exciting times, and it was just a blast to read a bunch of books that fit a certain amount of prompts and whatnot that the captains and Andy kind of put together and worked on together. So anyway, without further ado, here's what I read last month. First things first, I completed it. I completed the whole Cradle series. This is book 12. Is what I finally finished this last month. That's Waybound by Will White. Excellent ending to the series. It all makes sense. It was, again, after this many books, it does make sense. It's, maybe a little too neat, some might say, but I thought it was well deserved and everything I ever could ask for. So I just thought it was a great ending. Really made me happy. I'll have to do a full review on the whole Cradle series and see where that goes. That was the biggest book that actually qualified under. We had a prompt that was for a long weekend, and so it was a long series or a long book over 500 pages. Then, of course, to try to catch up, I went with the shortest prompt, which was either a manga or a novella, and they could also meet certain criteria for bonus points and whatnot. So I ended up reading My Hero Academia. This was a sequel, so that was one of the bonus points that I was able to grab for that. The bonus points for Waybound was that it was an independently published book. So it was kind of the focus because of the focus on the SPF BO. The focus then was on independently published books. So I thought that was pretty cool. And with that being said, we then get to Seekers, The Winds of Change by Troy Knowlton. This was my third book, and it is an SPF BO book. That's the competition. If you don't know, that it kind of is the competition for the best self-published book. And so they do it yearly. It's kind of hosted by Mark Lawrence, lots of judges, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really great opportunity, and that's, again, what we wanted to make this whole readathon about. This one actually qualified for 2 prompts because there's a castle in the background, there's a sword here. Could have done either one. It really didn't matter. Only could use one. Then it's also was the bonus point for the SPF BO. One of the things I struggled mostly because it was I listened actually to this on audiobook where this is the second audiobook that I've read that I had this problem. And so I think it made me extra sensitive and much more of a baby with it. So I don't think it was the book's problem, because I really enjoyed the characters, the setting, the idea of the Seekers and whatnot, and thought that was well done. But what I struggled with was the audio book. The narration would essentially, it would be going along and it'd be like, and then they go into danger. Just these weird pauses that didn't make any sense, but it was like constant throughout the entire reading. Would just be these like random pauses that they weren't for dramatic effect. It was maybe for like recording reasons, but I'm like, in most audiobooks I listen to, you stop at a period. I it was really, I guess, a frustrating read because of this constant, like, just odd pausing that was going on, and it just became so distracting to me. So I don't think I really was able to give Seekers a really full shot here. Then I read Tiger Man by Nick Harkaway. He's one of my favorite authors. I love him. This one qualified for a standalone. Nick Harkaway has written The Gone Away World, Angel Maker, literally two of some of my favorite books. Just excellent. There's just this like seriousness coupled with, like the serious plot coupled with this comedic voice sometimes, and just, anyway, he just gets the comedy really well. I really enjoy his books. This is one I thought... it won a Kitschy, which is an award for speculative fiction, and after reading the whole thing, and it didn't really dawn on me until a couple days ago when it was like, wait a sec, I don't think that was actually fantasy or science fiction, because I read my whole 5 books. That was the amount that you're allowed to read for the readathon. That was the maximum. So I realized maybe that one doesn't qualify. So just in case, I made up for it. So I read Titanium Noir by Nick Harkaway, which also qualified for my standalone, which also qualified under the page length that I needed, but actually was a science fiction book that takes place in essentially this kind of near future setting where there's this new drug that's out that allows people to, and it's insanely expensive, only for the rich, but it allows people to essentially start the aging process over. But the thing is, you start it over as an adult, and so you become a titan. So you've got all these like just huge people because they grow essentially double in their size and just become huge each time that they take it, and not all have only taken it once. But anyway, it essentially extends people's lives by 100 years, by a whole lifetime, and then they take another dose, and then they can extend them again. So, but it has consequences. It has, but mostly because this is a noir, it's a detective story. So it's really entertaining. Highly, like I said, I love Nick Harkaway. Tiger Man was a little slower paced, but also had just like more heart, more emotion. Loved it. Absolutely, like it was just beautiful. There's this kid in it you just grow attached to, and that the main character kind of adopts in a way, or at least wants to adopt. And then in Titanium Noir, you've got just this like hard-boiled like detective that he's only a detective for Titan crimes and crimes against Titans, and so he gets involved because there's been a murder, as you can imagine. He's got to investigate it, figure out, get to the bottom of it. And again, it was just excellent, really great. Finished it literally on the cusp of last night to be able to qualify for the readathon, just in case Tiger Man didn't count, because again, I was off on that. So hard to tell unless you read the book if it's going to actually qualify. So that's the problem here. So, but I mean, on the positive, I ended up reading 6 books for the whole month. So the last book was A Princess of Mars. You've heard of it, Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is the first in the John Carter series. I don't know if I'll keep going in it. It was fine. It was good. I was, again, a product of its time. So there's some, it's kind of one of these where you're like, okay, we've come a long way. It's kind of nice to recognize that as a society. But, it doesn't focus too much. There's just kind of some cowboys and Indians kind of starting out, and then it gets into John Carter getting transported to Mars. There's all these cultures there, and he's kind of warring and constantly taking sides because he as an Earthman on Mars, he's got extra strength because he's used to Earth gravity, which is much stronger than Mars. And so anyway, he can leap tall buildings. He's not quite Superman, but he's up there. But chasing the girl and whatever, and there's all that stuff. But one of the things is, again, it is one of those. It's a pretty relatively short book. I think it's about 200 pages or so, and it does skip a lot of the things. It skips things like details like gathering an army. Where Game of Thrones, right? Like Daenerys goes in and really like collects her army and stuff, and gathers it, and you see her do that, and you kind of see her character growth as she's like gathering her army in A Song of Ice and Fire, as opposed to like A Princess of Mars was like, And then they grabbed these guys, and then these guys, oh, they had 100,000 people. There we go. So that was just part where it really stuck out to me. And there's just lots of that, just, jumping over important details over and over again. So that's my month, 6 books. I felt pretty good about it. Got them in. That was definitely on the higher end of my average. Usually average about 4 to 5, and so I felt pretty good about that. I'm well ahead of my Goodreads goal for the year so far. But I also, because of the readathon, and had to and picking books that fit the readathon as well as I could to be able to make sure and maximize it. And luckily enough to even get 6 books. I am way off of my TBR for the year, so I'm trying to get back. So let's talk about what am I reading for this next month. All right, TBR for August. We're getting back on schedule, hopefully to some degree. Maybe not fully because, of course, I can't help myself, and I've jumped on to another buddy read. Here's what I do. So, but anyway, first of all, first things first, I am planning on finishing Lies of Locke Lamora. I did start that not last month, but the month before, because I was participating in Matt's fantasy book reviews, his buddy read with that. Got about halfway, and then the readathon started, and so I just like to finish it. It's a great book. It's really great. Again, this is my second time through. Absolutely fun. No rereads worked for the readathon, so they all had to be new. So Lies did not count, not to mention I started earlier. But anyway, one of my favorite books. Scott Lynch is just brilliant with, if you're getting the theme here, I'm a fan of comedic fantasy, at least to some degree. It's just wonderful. The next thing is Sword of Destiny by Andrzej Sapkowski. That's I think it's a prequel in the Witcher series. I'm really looking forward to it. So I took a long break from The Witcher, did not like The Last Wish the first time I read it. Luckily, J.R. Carroll and J.C.M. Byrne got me to reread it somehow just in the last month or two, and we did a live stream on it and we discussed it, and I actually loved it this time. I just had a blast, thought it was so clever, it was really well worked out, and it wasn't just fighting monsters, even though that was good and it was a healthy part of it. It was fun. So it was a good just combination, and I thought it was pretty genius. Don't know what I was thinking the first time through. I don't know. Something about this time through really just made me fall in love with it. So I am super excited to have another fantasy series that I love, that's popular, that I can talk about and talk with other people about. And so we are going to be doing on August 20th another live stream talking about Sword of Destiny. So again, this is very early in the series, and it's I don't think it even follows The Last Wish. It's a prequel, I think, to the main series still, and should have some really good stuff in it. I'm excited to get back into it. Blood of Elves, I think, will be after that. I've actually owned Blood of Elves for some time, so I'm excited to finally read that one someday, and it might actually happen this year. All right, we're back into finishing series. That's kind of what my TBR was a little bit based on this year. And so one of them is finishing the Thrawn trilogy, especially since Ahsoka's coming out here. And I would like to be on the ball for that, to learn my Thrawn. I've already read the first 2, Heir to the Empire and Dark Force Rising, I think. Those were excellent. They're just so amazing. They're so much fun. And it's just great to be following Luke and Leia and Han in a story that's actually well thought out, well planned, beloved by many, and I don't know why the films couldn't just go back to this. So, or at least use the parts that worked in the expanded universe. Like, you had years worth of seeing what worked, and just you could use them, right? And I don't know why we couldn't. Anyway, just boggles my mind. Everyone wants to do their own thing and make their own mark, I guess, and it's like, you know what, there's a reason this worked in the first place. Can you just do stuff that works? Essentially, we had to study for decades seeing what works for Star Wars stories. All right, this is more in the maybe read, the MBR portion, because I think those ones are going to be read. The Torch That Ignites the Stars by Andrew Rowe. This is one that I had planned on maybe fitting in last month, but then I really wanted to finish Waybound The last book in the Cradle series. I mean, it's the last book. What am I going to do? But I love that series, the Arcane Ascension series. Debating Unnecessary Evil. Again, that's going to be finishing off a TBR item. It's by Ian Tregillis, and it's a really good, just like superheroes in World War II. The Nazis have some, the Allies have some, and it's really interesting premise and really well done. Project Hail Mary, I'm debating. I just got it on Audible, and I love Andy Weir. I love The Martian. Didn't quite love Artemis, so I'm hoping Andy's third book, I think, third main book that's popular, does really well for me. I hear it's great. I hear it's a lot like The Martian, which again, I really liked, so I'm okay with that. For some reason, I don't have it here. It's back on my bedside table because it's ready and raring to go. It's Oathbringer. I've got the rest here. Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, Rhythm of War. I just finished Edge Dancer not too long ago, so I'm ready and excited to get into Oathbringer. I don't want to wait too long, but I've kind of been spacing out my Stormlight so that I can be ready when the 5th book comes out. It's making some progress. It's a little over 50%. It might even be 60% by the time this video drops, maybe even higher. So I'm loving to see that that's coming along, and so that's been Brandon Sanderson's big focus this year, but though is Stormlight Archive. So I'm excited for that. And again, I've been kind of slowly going along because I don't have to reread again. I love rereading, but I reread so much. There's so much out there that I want to get to that rereading it's probably not the wise thing to do, even though I love it so much. It's so great to get back to characters that I love. And anyway, so that's my TBR and MBR. There's a little bit of both here. And that's kind of what I'm going for this next month. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to try. My goal is more reviews. I want to get more reviews up. I know they kind of don't do super well in the algorithm, but I don't really care so much either. I think that's such an important part of a review channel, if that's what I'm making it, to review the books. And so I kind of give these like short reviews here on my updates, but I would like to give kind of more longer dedicated reviews going forward and do a lot more of them, and maybe that can give a little bit more content to the channel if hopefully I'm not overwhelming people with all this content. I've been sticking with pretty much 2 videos a week plus a short. I've found a kind of something that's working for shorts. It's kind of fun. I've been doing just different kind of series for shorts, whether it's kind of like my top fantasy, top sci-fi, or just doing mispronouncing fantasy names has been fun. I started doing those as just inserts into videos when I first started out for the channel, and nobody would even address it. Nobody even knew, I don't think, that it was even happening. Nobody found it remotely even funny like I did. But doing them as shorts, as YouTube shorts, has really been working out. It's been funny. So to just see these kind of take off, each one of them, because I think they're funny, I think they're fun, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But I'm having fun with it, and so that's the important part, that we're all having fun, right? So anyway, hope this is something that you ended up enjoying. We'll see. And anyway, we'll catch you later. Bye.